Porto Cork America is the premier supplier of natural cork closures to the North American wine industry. Porto Cork has a rigorous process to ensure quality at every step of processing. Samples from each lot are taken to the lab where they undergo a number of tests to ensure quality and integrity. The samples are tested for TCA, the molecule responsible for cork taint in wine. For this, corks are soaked 24 hours in wine, and the wine soak is then sent to ETS laboratories to determine with gas chromatography if there is TCA present. If there is TCA at an unacceptable level, the lot will be rejected. If the stoppers pass the first quality step, the corks then go through additional quality testing. Sensory testing is completed by the lab personnel to detect the eventual presence of off flavors other than TCA. For this, corks are soaked again in wine, and the cork soaks are sniffed by a minimum of 3 trained lab staff. Physical dimensions are checked to be sure the cork will be suited to the bottleneck of wine bottles. Moisture level of the corks are checked to ensure optimal elasticity. The eventual presence of residual oxidants used to clean the corks during the washing process are also tested to ensure there is no risk of oxidation for the wine to be bottled. Finally, the visual quality of the cork is also assessed by comparing the porosity to the lab reference sample for that respective grade of cork. A big part of the incoming quality control process is to work collaboratively with winemakers to design a testing program best suited for their bottling needs. Porto Cork conducts wine soaks, ethanol soaks, or water soaks depending on the request of the customer. Sensory specialists work collaboratively with winemakers to help determine the best cork for their label or project. Sensory specialists are trained on site and bring years of experience assessing the aromatic qualities of cork to ensure that you get the best product possible.
In order to become a sensory specialist at Porto Cork, there is 2 things to be known. First, you have a natural talent, but you also have the training who provide you a big improvement in your detection, in your ability to detect TCA.
Porto Cork also provides a very unique dry soak methodology for special orders called ICON. 6 drops of water are added to each cork in individual jars. This small amount of liquid is enough to extract the aromatic of the cork in the humid environment of the jar, and the winemaker and the sensory specialist at Porto Cork can detect any negative smell or release of TCA after 24 hours. Clients then select each individual cork, and to meet their standard, the cork are then set aside, dried for optimum humidity, and used in the production of their order. This type of testing regimen is usually reserved for special bottlings or ICON customers bottling very expensive luxury wines.
With Porto Cork, their corks are beautiful and they have a good quality to begin with. And then in the selection of the corks, they offer cork by cork analysis to pick your corks. And so that's actually what I'm doing this year. I'm buying corks from them and they will do sensory on every single cork that goes into our bottles. And so that's as good as it gets.
Once outside the lab and into the processing facility, the quality checks continue. Printers ensure that corks are ink printed or fire branded properly, and there are no shadows or deviations. The coating operator guarantees the corks are dried completely prior to coating. Machine calibration for lubricant injection is performed regularly to guarantee perfection. Also, all of the orders are tested for insertion and extraction properties to make sure the lubricant is well distributed on the corks and the extractability of the corks is optimal. And once again, an inspector checks moisture on corks that have now been processed. And finally, as corks are packaged for shipping, testers check to ensure that the quantity of the gaseous sulfur dioxide injected into the bags is sufficient to sanitize efficiently the product. All of the steps that Porto Cork does to ensure quality are extremely important, but Porto Cork's commitment, above all, is to the customer.
When you create a wine, it's a lot of hard work. It's important for the winemaker not only to pick somebody who has a good quality team and who understand, the property of his cork, but also to communicate with this person to choose the best cork possible for his specific wine.
Porto Cork has a really awesome commitment to quality, which is it's incredibly important. I'm committed to using natural closures. So the best you can do is really for me as a cork buyer to really partner with a company who's committed to quality.